So I want to start today's episode of From the Bullseye with a question. How are you leveraging offshore and nearshore resources for your enterprise systems projects, enhancements, and support? Notice I'm asking how are you using it, not if you're using it. I'm just going to go with the assumption that anybody watching this is using one of those methods in some capacity or has seriously considered using it and just hasn't found the right place to insert it. I'm asking this question because it's a question or a related question that's coming back to us quite a bit and really has for the last year as clients are looking for significant ways to reduce cost. Now, in the world of enterprise systems and where we play with SAP primarily, we've fielded staffing and resource requests in an offshore model for years, most specifically in the technical or development space. And it's a proven model, it's proven to save a bunch of money. It comes with its caveats and headaches. I think everybody's aware of those pros and cons of working with resources that are halfway around the world, who may not speak English as their primary language, and who have just challenges in communicating across those time zones. But having worked through those for the last couple of decades, the question we're getting now is focusing on leveraging functional resources, business analysts, subject matter experts on the functional and business process side of things. That was unheard of to us. Most of our clients really relied upon having boots on the ground here in the US to integrate between different business functions and to interface with business stakeholders. Well, suddenly, again, due to cost pressures and due to rising talent capabilities in offshore markets, clients are now saying to us, hey, Bull City, we'd like that same functional resource that you put on site with us for, say, $175 an hour to do the exact same job in an offshore market for half or less of that hourly rate. So again, I ask, how are you leveraging it? And what are some of the decision criteria you use in trying to make that choice of what roles you can afford to keep onshore and you really need firsthand in-person experience, and what roles can you take offshore? So I'll pose to you a few of the decision criteria that we're talking to clients about and ones that they're sharing with us. One is cost versus control. We know that proximity enhances control. You have, quote unquote, under your thumb, those consultants at your facility or at least working remote within the United States. Higher degrees of control comes with higher cost. Go offshore, reduce your cost, lose somewhat, if not most, of your control. Working different time zones, the resources have different work styles, you can't see them day in and day out, and communicating with them comes with its challenges, which inhibits control. So that becomes a question, what's more important to you, cost or control? The next thing is kind of obvious in my comments about having a strong history in technical resources offshore, is the access to the kind of talent you need. There's tremendous pools of talent in the technical realms offshore. Support and data centers with resources that frankly have better training, more access to training, and development skills that outpace what we have available in the US. Sorry to say, it's true. But on the functional side, does that also hold true? And so do you have access to talent in an offshore model that can match the level of talent, the specificity of skills, and what I would argue most important is the communication and consulting savvy that comes from our domestic-based resources. So where is the talent available to solve the actual problem at hand? And then the third area is, what are your real expectations behind choosing an offshore or nearshore model? Do you have grandiose expectations of cutting cost? Have you tested those expectations against the theory that while you may enjoy significant hourly rate reductions it might take you 3 times as long to get the work done due to communication and quality issues. A common retort when trying to look at the cost savings. What about expectations for just quality in general? What about expectations for attention to the unique business challenges that we face in a US-based manufacturing environment that may be wholly different and different supply chain expectations that people experience in these offshore markets? So just really level setting what your expectations are in going offshore. And then lastly, what's your risk tolerance? Again, it kind of feeds off of the first comment about control. But when you don't have as much control, what new risks are introduced? What risks go with, I hate to say it, global unrest? Are you leveraging resources in markets that might be undergoing certain geopolitical conditions that would put your resources and your projects at risk? What about economic risk? What about access to foreign resources that the current administration may crack down on or change the availability, the accessibility, or the inherent costs thereof? Right? So those are all risk factors that you have to consider whether you're onshore or offshore. So I'm sorry to say, in wrapping up the episode, I don't have a perfect answer. We think that the best model is a blend. That even if you find great resources in both a functional and technical skill set offshore or nearshore, you still want to have that in-market capability at your fingertips and then let them govern and manage those resources offshore. What's the ratio? Who's to say? It could be 50-50. For every 2 resources you have on site, have 2 offshore. Maybe it's some other blend where you put more bodies against the work offshore because they're cheaper, and you just keep a couple people onshore who lead and govern and can really express the business needs and convey those needs to the resources who deliver on the product in some offshore or nearshore market. So a lot of questions surrounding it. The idea of today's conversation is to ask those questions. Love to hear what your questions are in the comments or different approaches that you're seeing among your teams, among those in your industry and your competitors. And we're happy to share different approaches that we see work out there. Thanks for joining us.